Welcome. My name is Kelly Kramer, and I'm on the staff here at the Waukesha Public Library. I am joined by my colleague, Kelly Davis, two Kellys working for you tonight. And we're just really excited to have you here. I want to get a couple of technology things out of the way. Everyone's mics should be muted. We're trying to ensure that there aren't any distractions during the presentation. And also your videos should be turned off. We are going to be recording this tonight and we're sharing it on our YouTube channel. And so for privacy reasons, we just want everybody's cameras off. And by the way, when the YouTube video is ready, we are going to email all of you and let you know it's up. You can watch it again. You can let your friends know. So that's that. We are also going to be accepting questions at about 7:10 p.m. And the way to send us your questions is through the chat feature in Zoom. Right along the bottom of your screen, you click on chat and you can type your questions. And I will be fielding those around 7:10 p.m. And we're really hoping we get some interesting questions after this program. We are thrilled to present Bigfoot in Wisconsin, fact or fake? We have a theme this summer at the Waukesha Public Library. It's Tales and Tales. And I thought Bigfoot in Wisconsin fit the theme perfectly. So here we are. We also have other programs coming up this summer. So check out our website. You could join an adult book discussion. There's a couple of really great ones right around the corner. You could come over and do Tai Chi in the park. Check out the website. Everyone ready? It's time to hunt for the truth. I am going to introduce our guest, Mr. Jay Bachochin. Jay is first a family man, but he is also a graphic designer, a cinematographer, and a film editor. Jay started the Wisconsin Paranormal Investigators in 2007, and with that group, he investigated and researched ghosts and UFOs. But in 2014, he went on a solo quest to hunt the truth about the Wisconsin Sasquatch, right here in southeast Wisconsin. And in 2019, Jay produced, filmed, edited, and directed his own documentary called Finding Jay, and it is available to stream on Amazon Prime, or there are copies of a Blu-ray available. So check that out. I am going to turn things over to Jay now. Thank you all for being here. This is super exciting. Take it away, Jay.
Well, thank you, Kelly, for that introduction. First of all, I just want to say Bigfoot, right, in Wisconsin. Well, wait a minute. How about just Bigfoot? How can you even get there? And that's one of the questions a lot of people will ask me. And I wasn't always there. You know, I started off, you know, I'm going to date myself here, and we're going to go with, let's see. See if this works here. Sorry. Kelly, oh, there we go. Sorry.
Hey.
See, when this is live, that's the cool thing. We had this all down and everything, but this is the first thing. Now, why am I showing you this? Well, back in the 70s, I grew up watching, you know, these monster classics. I literally was that pasty white kid sitting in the basement in the summer while everybody was out in, you know, playing softball, riding bikes. And if I knew Godzilla or King Kong were on, I wanted to watch it. You know, I was just wired that way. And, you know, with coming to that, I always thought, well, you know, it's movies, it's an influence. Is there something real to Dracula, to the Wolfman, Frankenstein, King Kong, you know, 50-foot ape, you know? So, you know, that was just the mind of a kid. And growing up, you could see, I always say Galileo, I call him Gigi, so many great truth quotes. And this one I hold dear. I really do. All truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them. Now, that doesn't mean looking for Frankenstein or the Wolfman or anything like that. This can be applied to everyday life. It's honestly, it's what I teach my kids. Don't just accept an answer. Always go out and hunt the truth. That's what I call it. It's not actually physically going out hunting with a gun or weapons or anything, but it's searching. It's looking for the truth. And the only way to discover them is, the only way to prove that they're real is to go out and discover them. Now, so I grew up really watching, like, really into ghosts, Loch Ness Monster, Roswell. And yes, I saw even the Bigfoot film, but honestly, out of all my childhood monsters or cryptids that I followed, Bigfoot to me was a guy in a suit. Don't ask me why. I've never been to Loch Ness. You know, I never saw anything like that. I've never been to Roswell. You know, and actually back then I never saw a ghost, but I believe those were real. And Bigfoot, come on. I mean, look at him. Look at her, actually. That's Patty. That's what they named her. And it was a hoax to me, or it wasn't real. Too many people are out there searching. A lot of hunters out there that aren't searching. How come one of these things have been taken down and proven? And honestly, that's what I thought. So in 2007, me and my wife were out on the East Coast honeymoon out in Boston, and we actually went up through Salem. And in Salem, they had like this ghost tour, really cool. It was about 50 people, and we're just walking around with our cameras, taking pictures and seeing dust orbs, but thinking they were ghosts. We learned a lot since then. But when we got back to Wisconsin, me and my wife were really avid watchers of TAPS, ghost hunters. That was the only thing that was on back then, before it's been saturated now with every other, you know, ghost type, you know, ghost adventurers, haunted this, haunted that, whatever. My thing was to go out and actually prove if these phenomenons that they were finding on ghost hunters was true. I mean, it looked legit, but you got to remember, everything that's on TV is for entertainment value, because anybody who's actually investigated ghosts out there, if a camera crew was following you around all night long, it would be boring. They'd probably tune in for a little bit, but when you don't find something every time, you're eventually going to quit out of that. So we did this. We started a team in 2007. It built up to 10 different people, and they're friends, and we'd go to different houses, residents, and such. So it was fun, and but at the same time, in 2013 is kind of where I kind of shifted more from the ghost phenomenon to the cryptids. Oops. So these are just a few things that I've been featured on the Travel Channel, In Search of Monsters, episode 8, The Beast of Bray Road. And I was also featured on the Bray Road Beast from Small Town Monsters Productions. Both of those you can actually see on Prime as well. And they dealt more with the Dogman. I literally live about 15 minutes away from Bray Road. So on my way up to the Kettle, I like to kind of patrol it. You really can't get off and investigate or anything, because it's all privately owned by farmers. So I recommend, if you're going to drive down Bray, just drive it. It's a public access. If you see something great, but don't get out of your cars, because all those farmers know each other. So that's what I recommend. But with that, I was doing a lot of research in the Kettle Moraine, and it was about 2013 when I first heard something out in the woods that changed my mind about Bigfoot. I really don't know if it was because I didn't see it, but it was at night, and I did catch some audio, and the people that I was with, about my age, we've never heard anything like that. It almost sounded like a simian primate sound out in the woods, in the dark woods. I mean, we were adventurous. We're out there with night vision cameras, and all of a sudden we hear this, and we're just kind of rattled a little bit. But again, I'm no Outback Jack. I'm no expert, wild man out there, trying to do some tracking and stuff like that. I'm learning as I do this, but I was nothing like that. So that got me interested in actually hiking the Kettle Moraine. And I did this for, 4 or 5 years before I had enough information, enough documentation to say I have something that I could put together, maybe hand out at a convention or something like that. And next thing you know, this turned into a full-blown documentary. Actually, it's just at 2 hours long. People thought I was nuts for doing that because most documentaries should only be 60 minutes or less. But, honestly, I had it cut down. It was longer than Avengers Endgame. When I first had it, it was like 3.5 hours. And I want to just tell my story. So if nobody has seen the trailer, I'm going to play the trailer here for you right now. My name is Jay Bachochin. I'm an investigator in Wisconsin who's searching for the truth. I've investigated ghosts. I've investigated UFOs. I even took a crack at solving an unsolved mystery. But all of that was put on hold just because of one night in the Kettle Moraine. Over there, left. Could it be Bigfoot? Does Bigfoot even exist? All I know is that something mysterious roams these woods, and I want to know what it is. Join me on my 5 years of research of 20 different people. Explain it, Eric.
I can't.
Explain how it's following us.
Why is that dangerous?
What could have done it? What could have thrown those rocks?
Lights and my Mars lights, overhead lights, and I hit my spotlight on it, and what I saw was a big surprise.
A sound of something coming through the trees, and there was a thunk right at our feet, and we realized that a rock had been flung from the woods to land precisely between us.
What the hell was that?
What is it?
If it hit him, it meant to kill him.
300 minimum?
Yeah, it's a big rock. Let's look.
Because I'm just trying to get past him. We're running for our lives at this point, and you hear right behind us, BAM!
This hill is where I heard the thump, not far off from where I'm standing.
I set out on a journey of mysteries. Do you see it? There's two. A journey of adventure. A journey to find the truth. Because all truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them, to find them. Or will they find me? Okay, so, I'm also like into creating and editing and, you know, some people say I missed my calling in Hollywood. A lot of people can take that trailer a little bit as narcissistic and look at me type of thing. But at the same time, if you make it too boring, it's not interesting. So it's a double-edged sword. All right. So what I'm going to start off with is kind of how I hike. I don't call it squatching because, well, I just like hiking because squatching sounds too putting it in a box, and that's what you're going to go out and do. I enjoy hiking. That's what I do. I'm going to start off with that before I get into the meat and potatoes of actually what I've come across. We've got, I call it 3 rules to a successful hike. And this is me. This is what I do. Number 1, safety first. And I know that seems like that should just be a no-brainer and common sense, but it is. It's safety first. Number 1, never go out alone. Why? Well, you can get lost. You could come across, you know, an angry or hungry predator. You could come across, well, it looks like Jason Voorhees back there. I don't know. But they could just be weird people out in the woods. I don't know if anybody has seen David Plotty's book, Missing 411, but there are a lot of missing people that are never found in national parks. That's pretty crazy and pretty scary. And this is one of the reasons why I say alert your whereabouts. Now, I always text my coordinates to a trustworthy person that you know that's going to respond to your text. Mine is my wife. She's at home, and I'll text her the area I'm at, the location when I get there, and when I get back. That way she has something, because she said, you know, if you ever die in the kettle, I'll kill you. So, yeah, well, there's a little joke there, but it's true. She really does worry about me that way. And number 3, in the safety first, always protect yourself. Now, I don't have John Rambo out there with guns ablazing when I'm out there. I do carry some weapons, or some protection, I should say, not weapons. And that would be like 21-inch machete. I got some bear spray, hunting knife, and a 2500 lumens flashlight. Now you'd say, why the flashlight? Well, when you're at night, well, all I can say is you blind your attacker, you've got the advantage. So it's very important to have these things on you just for the safety's sake. Another thing that I always go by with the safety and protecting yourself is, hey, you're out in the woods. There are ticks and, you know, that carry Lyme disease, and of course the mosquitoes. And believe me, the kettle mosquitoes, and I'm sure you guys have been out there, they'll carry you away no matter how much of that stuff you put on. But I'm determined. I just kind of walk through it and deal with it. Few things that I carry, and this isn't this is just some of the safety, common sense things that I bring out, which is the water, a little bit of food. I do have a first aid kit. I do carry an actual compass. I don't rely on my phone because it's spotty service with GPS. Even though I do have my phone out there, I carry like a couple power banks. That way, if anything was to happen to me out there, I could keep my phone going for a day or two without it running out of batteries, just in case somebody was looking for me. Number 2, I always say, know your surroundings. And these should be no-brainers, but people sometimes ask me, do you go squatching all over? I don't. I don't go hiking all over either. Well, you've got to know your area. I'm just going to kind of read these as you follow along, but you got to know the trails. Don't just go willy-nilly out there, especially if you're going to go by yourself, which you shouldn't. Know the wildlife. The wildlife down here in southeast Wisconsin is going to be different from up north or the UP or northern Minnesota. It's going to be different. You got to know what you're dealing with out there. If you are going out there, hopefully maybe trying to get contact or see something abnormal, such as Bigfoot or some other cryptid, you got to know if there's other hikers out there or bikers or runners, because that'll throw you off. And it has thrown me off with not expecting it, and all of a sudden joggers running behind me and scare the crap out of me. But anyway, you got to know if the hikers are out there. Know your landmarks when you get in and out, and most importantly, know the rules and regulations, because the last thing you want to do is come here with John Hunter, because you know what, they can legally hunt, and you don't want to be in their crosshairs by accident, which is one of the reasons why I wear bright colors, whether it's at night or during the day I like to stand out. I'm not out there hunting wabbit. I'm not a deer hunter. I'm out there hiking. If I ever have my kids come hiking with me, they're also wearing a safety yellow. It makes sense. And call me an overprotective father, but I watch my kids like a mother hen, or is that a father rooster? I'm not sure. Now, my third one, this is the best one because you got to have fun doing this. All right. You're out there looking for something that doesn't exist. And I've seen too many uptight people being too quiet, too serious, and you got to have fun. And when I go out there, I'm not listening for ghosts per se. I'm trying to be as natural as I can while still listening to my surroundings, because you never know, but you got to have fun. So a lot of people ask me what type of equipment and what do I do out there? Because what do you do when you go out hiking? Is it all, is it a secret? No, it's not a secret at all. You just got to have the gonads to go out there, especially at night and with somebody, and to be able to do these little hiking techniques. The few pieces of equipment that I walk out with is, I'm just going to kind of read them as you go along here. I do have my iPhone. See, it's the same one. What do you know? Yeah, a little camo back, but a little orange on front in case I drop it. Body cam. I've actually got a couple body cams. Thermal imager, a flare imager, audio recorder, and I have a shotgun mic that sits up here. And I got night vision binoculars. I walk around in the dark, or I walk around with a little low red light because it's more for night vision. It doesn't blind you and you're not as aggressive coming out. I do have trail cams and the 2500 lumens torch. Now, doesn't that look cool? I mean, you just look bad, you're just, yeah, it looks really good. However, lately with all the equipment that I've been adding on, I'm starting to feel like a Borg. I really have been feeling less connected to nature. And that's what the equipment will do. And honestly, I don't think there is an expert in Bigfoot or cryptids, and I'm certainly not one of them, but I'm just going by my gut feel. And my gut feel is that I'm putting too much technology between me and nature. And maybe that's why I'm not getting a lot of results. My main results isn't to prove to the world that Bigfoot exists. It's for me. And I'm trying everything that I can when I'm out there. I mean, this is what I do. I'll throw up hand signals. I'll greet them. I'll play music, like say anything with the boombox over my head, but it's my phone. I remain silent when we're around groups, and then I just wait and have patience. And I can't stress enough about the waiting and have patience, because while I can say I believe Bigfoot is out there and that I've encountered Bigfoot, I think that you need to do that. You need to wait and have patience and not just march all over the woods and just hike for miles. I think you find a place. This is what I like to do. Find a place, kind of talk, with the group that you're with, but always listening to the woods and just waiting, because I've had stones thrown at me by waiting, or sticks, and they're not the typical sticks that would fall down. You can hear them go through trees. You can hear the rocks go through the trees as if they're thrown. So something's throwing them. All right, so the meat and potatoes of this, because now you would think that this picture here is a selfie that I'm taking. It's not. This is actually Mary Marshall was recording video at the time. This is just a screenshot of it. And I kept hearing as we were walking in the dark, something creeping to our right. I mean, it was bizarre because there was no trail up there, but it was keeping pace. Mary really didn't hear it as much, and she was a couple of feet in front of me, and I'm walking behind, and finally I stopped, and I'm like, are you hearing this? And she's like, what? And I'm like, there is something pacing us. I mean, but could it be an animal? Obviously, right? you know, animals will tend to stalk. Well, I don't want to say animals will tend to stalk, but you could have a lone wolf, or there could be so many different things that could be stalking you. And you could say, well, it could be a human, but the human would sound like a rhino just trudging through the trees getting after you. So it was really weird. And at this point with this picture, I remember saying, aren't you hearing this? And all of a sudden it did. It sounded like something big just kind of brushed right through the trees right by us. And we're like, it stops you in your tracks. Again, what was it? Was it Bigfoot? Don't know. But all I know is it was pacing us, and that was pretty creepy. The picture on the left is kind of what kind of catapulted me into this whole Bigfoot phenomenon in the Kettle Moraine. You know, I heard those sounds in October 2013, and I thought, okay, that was unique. That was a simian sound that we heard. And I went out there another 1 or 2 times, I think during the day at that point. And I remember it was one time in February 2014. Our kids were getting babysat at the time, and my wife's like, hey, do you want to go hiking in the Kettle? And I'm like, you don't have to twist my arm. You know, she just wanted to go hiking in the snow just to get out into nature or whatever. But you know what I was looking for? And sure enough, I come across these prints. My wife she just walked right by them, and she was about 50 yards ahead of me. And this is all in the film, so I don't want to give it all away, but she was about 50 yards ahead of me. And then she texted me, because, you know, that's what you do when you're out in the woods. You don't call, you text. And she goes, where are you? And I'm like, I'm standing by these huge footprints that you just walked by. There was nothing else there. It was very deep snow. And I found these, and they were 17.5 by 6. That's not a melt out. That's fresh snow. In fact, the snow was still coming down when I took this picture. So realistically, in about an hour, those would have been filled. So I keep going back to, if it was hoax, we have not been able to prove that it was hoax, because there's no way, unless you put up, you know, some sort of string, or not string, but rope, and you were kind of like hanging like Mission Impossible and putting down big footprints every 5 feet. It was like 53 inches from heel to heel. And I counted 12 before they disappeared. That's the other mystery. They just absolutely disappeared. This other one that we found in 2017, a little different location, but still the Kettle, not too far. And again, that one measured 18 inches, as you can see, by 6 wide and 3 deep. And that was kind of unique. We just found a 1, which is always a weird thing. But I have found some other ones. I haven't casted one yet. I do carry casting material with me, but you know, it's funny. I didn't have casting material then, and by the time I wanted to go back out there, it already rained. I remember it was a really rainy summer, and those are washed away. So, but I do now, and I'm hoping to cast sometime. Okay, so this here is in the documentary, but I'm going to show you a little clip of some rocks being thrown at me. This area right here, this is the other big thing, was taken in September, the same year I found the footprints in February. Believe it or not, same location that I found the footprints. Now it's going to hit me again because I threw a rock.
Well, it's interesting it landed.
What is that?
That was not an acorn.
And I'm going to back this up here real quick, because the one thing I did not mention, and I always seem to do that when I play this, is the lead up was there were stones being kind of thrown at us. And this is in the documentary, you see it all. But all of a sudden the stones stopped coming towards us, and it was weird because they were always landing by our feet. I'm like, whoever this is has a good aim, and we were walking, so I'm like, how is somebody doing this? So they finally stopped, and that's when I got fed up, and I picked up a rock. That's that loud sound you hear against the tree. So I'm going to play it again really quick, but That loud sound is me just throwing a rock out. Now, I don't have that good of aim. I couldn't hit the side of a barn, but I hit a tree.
Oh, that was good. That was great.
Now it's going to hit me again because I threw a rock.
Well, it's interesting it landed.
What is that?
That was not an acorn. Here it comes again.
Okay, so you'll really have to watch the film, my documentary, to see why I walked away. It's pretty intriguing. I don't want to give it away. You'll know why I walked away. Now, we don't have smell-o-vision here, so the smell is one of the hardest thing to show. Even if you guys were alive and we weren't doing this virtually, I wouldn't have a can of the smell that we smelled, but it is horrific. It is. I've never smelled anything like it. I'm just gonna play a short little clip here of us smelling it. Now, the first time my oldest daughter saw this, she laughed because she thought, well, here's two guys out in the woods and we're smelling each other. And I mean, it's kind of funny because you're thinking, well, who farted, right? This wasn't. This, you know, if it was that good a smell, I'd have been proud of myself. But I'll tell you, this was horrible. There it is. There it is.
That's.
Here, let me see that light. What do you got?
I got a smell of rotten.
Tell
flesh.
me.
I got a smell of what I'm calling rotten flesh, musty, rotten flesh, and it seems to move with us.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
We'll go 30, 50 yards and not smell anything, and then we'll catch a whiff of it, small whiff of it. We'll go another 25, 50 yards, and it's a much stronger smell.
Yeah, and
it's been 500-600 yards now.
Can you smell that now?
I smell it.
Yeah, I smell it.
And it seems to be going with that.
And there's a lot more to that, obviously, but I have smelled that smell several different times with several different people. I've always been the X factor because I've been there for each time. And anybody that has gone out with me and smells that is, they can relate to exactly what that is. We can go into the smell later, but with any other instance I've had with what I believe is Bigfoot, it's not always, I don't always smell that. So that again is another mystery. Number one, does Bigfoot exist? Number two, did you see the Bigfoot lift up its armpit or bend down? Who knows? And that's where the smell's coming from. We don't know, but the smell is very real. Okay, here is a clip where this was another summer that we were out there. It was a beautiful night. Stars were out. I pulled out at the time. I had a Seek Thermal, and I was with two other guys. They're standing behind me in the dark, and I just turned this on just to see if I can see anything. There was no rhyme or reason why I stopped, but when I did, 20 seconds later, right where we just walked by, a tree falls down. No wind, perfect night, and it comes down. Anybody ever see Ghostbusters in the beginning scene with walking in the library and Ray, they walk by and the whole bookshelf falls? That's kind of what it was like. Whoops. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, guys. Sorry. You knew that was going to happen on live. All right. And of course, it sounded much louder being there. Microphones, audio never do that justice, but it was pretty odd. Again, did we see a Bigfoot knock the tree down, push it over? No. However, we have also come across big trees strewn across the path that we'll just stop and look at going, that's weird, but is it possible? Sure. But you got to start putting these pieces together. That's what I always say. I've come across these weird tree structures that you would think were a deer blind or something, or Blair Witch, I don't know. But all I know is we've come across these weird stick structures that were put together so odd. I couldn't even say that's how a human would put something together. You can't really see in some of these pictures here. You'll see more in the documentary, but there's like little wedges of wood just positioned just right, but they did nothing for the structure. So I don't know. It was, again, something weird. We've come across some X's and stuff like that as well. All right, so this one was really intriguing. When you're out there hiking and nothing's going on and it's getting late, it's 1 a.m. Let's start heading in. It's a little bit cold. It was November. We just stop and look at a tree, and Brian, one of my friends, was looking out there, and he said, "Do you see that red? What is that red?" And I'm like, well, I don't know. I never add fuel to the fire whenever I see stuff like this. I'm always like, I don't see it. He's like, no, just let your eyes focus. And when he did, all of a sudden, this pair right in front of me, just like you see these. This is not an actual picture. This is the best rendition I could. It catches you off guard. They were laser red eye. The only thing I could say is eyes. I didn't see what was behind it, but again, they were just laser red. Another set came to the left. Also, we're looking at 3 pair of these looking at it. Again, in the documentary, we go into a little bit more on how tall they could have been, where they could have been. It was just, I did capture everything on audio because that's always going. But when people say, why didn't you get a picture of it? Well, why is that blurry? Well, you're not walking around with a camera up to your face, ready to just snap constantly the whole time you're out there. And this stuff catches you off guard. And then when you're seeing it, you're trying to process what it is. I'm like, what am I looking at? And that was definitely a creepy time. I had a sighting in 2016. If you see that person way back there, that's Mary, the person, a woman I told you I was hiking with, and that's about 80 yards away. And she was doing this for scale because, again, I was just out there with my 4-year-old daughter at the time, not at night. We're just doing a daddy-daughter date hike, and she's little 45 minutes, just little walk out there. It's where people walk all the time. And sure enough, we're 150 yards away from the car, and I see something through the brush. If you see where Mary's standing, this is how big it was. And it was auburn red. It moved like the fastest thing I could ever say moved. Can I say that I saw arms, legs, head, whatever? I don't know. It was auburn because it really stuck out amongst all that, and it moved to my left so fast. And my daughter is still skating around me, playing ice skating with daddy, and I'm thinking, this thing moves so fast. It was time to go. I realized at this point that even if I had John Rambo with his gun behind me, the way how fast this thing moved, if it wanted to take an attack on us, there would be nothing I could do to stop it. And I still think about that. Like, if this thing just ran through, snatched my daughter, and that was it. And I'm saying, hey guys, a Bigfoot took her, they locked me up. And, but at the same time, like I said, I'm an overprotective father. And at that point, we hightailed it out there. I think that shook me up, and I didn't really go out for over a month after that. I'm like, I don't know what we're dealing with out there. I don't know if it's Bigfoot, a banshee, whatever. I don't know. I was done. I'm like, I don't need to know what it is. It can stay unsolved. So the night, this one was a night sighting. Why you're seeing a drawing here is me and Mary Marshall were staking out of that tree structure that I showed you earlier. And everything, the whole kettle floor was snow. There wasn't a moon out, but when the kettle's like that, you don't need any flashlights or anything. You could see like an animal without any lights. And I could see every tree, every branch, like a silhouette of everything. And we're getting in position. And I've got my audio on, and we're just sitting there. She's looking over. she's looking over to my left. I'm looking over to her right. And I'm just getting in position. We found this big tree that we're sitting on, kind of fallen branch. And all of a sudden I look, and yeah, my best guess, yeah, I couldn't tell distance that much, but I'm going to say 20 yards away. I saw what looked like an oversized, mangy chimpanzee, kind of like on all fours, not sitting back, like totally on his butt, but kind of up. And I'm looking, I couldn't even process what I was looking at, because people say, well, how do you know it wasn't a cougar, a wolf? When I was looking at it, it had definitely a simian type features, but it was odd. It didn't register because it was so big. It was like a big, thin, gangly chimpanzee. That's the only thing I could say. I'm looking at this thing. I'm not saying anything to Mary yet, because again, you're just focused in, and I'm looking at this, and it's just as still as can be. And it moves behind this tree and some brush, as if it was a statue on a cart with wheels, and somebody just wheeled it away. It just glided.
Hey, Jay.
And yes.
We have a bunch of questions that have come in too. I'm just wondering how close we are here.
Yep, we're just about we are just about here.
Oh my
goodness.
At the
end. That was great timing.
That was
I planned it pretty good. Just letting everybody know as well, what I have up to is I am still researching, and I always have been, never stopped. I am coming out with a second documentary. I didn't think I was going to, but I am in 2022, so I'm right in the process of that. So as I said, question everything. Don't just accept an answer. Go out and hunt the truth, whether it's out in the woods, in the skies, whatever. Just in your life, just question it. So with all that, I always say, I'm not here to tell people that Bigfoot is real. I'm going to say, go out and discover for yourself. And that's the only way I could tell you that these things are real. So you can take my word for it or don't. And I don't expect people to. Just, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to me ramble. So thank you guys.
Well, I think people are definitely intrigued. That was awesome.
Thank you.
The first question is, do you mainly hike in the southern or northern Kettle Moraine?
I'm generally in the southern, and a lot of people will ask me, because there's been sightings in the middle part and the northern parts of the Kettle. I just haven't been up there yet. Once I've done this hike so much, I feel connected to these woods. I don't know if that makes any sense. When I go there, I could be out there at midnight in the dark, and I could be feeling like sitting on my couch in my living room. That's how comfortable I feel. And I have 5 different areas as the crow flies in that area. I've never ventured up yet, but I have a lot of people, friends and other people that follow me that say, you guys got to come up to the northern Kettle. There's something going on. So
you got a compliment. Great presentation.
Oh, well, thank you.
And a question. What would you do if you came face to face with Bigfoot?
That's a great question. And I've already thought of it. I would probably fall to the ground in a fetal position. And then after cleaning my shorts, which I do carry a clean pair of underwear in my backpack. That's not a joke. I really do.
I would too.
I think that we can, say what we would do, like say hello, but I honestly think that we would be in complete awe. And I think we'd also be in, I believe, fear, even without an aggressive attack. I mean, I've heard people coming up to one on accident while hiking that was over 10 feet tall, 4 feet wide. I mean, can you even imagine that? I couldn't. And I do this, and I should be expected to know, but I'm being honest, I probably would be just in complete awe, until then. So
cool. Me too. Agreed. Someone is asking, they also love the presentation, and they are asking what drives you to continue to search for Bigfoot.
Yeah, the only way I can explain it is there are morticians, there are firemen, they're a policeman. They have a calling. And that I believe that's what's kind of driving me to the kettle is I have a calling for it. If I'm not out there for a couple of weeks, I need to get out, and it is its nature. I think it's the people I hike with, love them all. You know, they're always different people, great friends, and I just enjoy that part. But I also like the thrill of the hunt for me, because realistically, I'm not trying to prove to the world that Bigfoot exists. I would like to come home and show my wife a video or a picture so she could say, you know, your husband's not crazy. She supports me, but I would love to do that. So it's definitely a calling. I have no other explanation for it. Just a calling.
Okay. Another thank you for doing this. And
You're welcome.
here's a question for you. Do you believe that Sasquatch is an undiscovered flesh and blood animal that science has yet to acknowledge? Or do you believe Sasquatch is an extraterrestrial or interdimensional being? Scientists at Skinwalker Ranch in Utah claim to have seen Bigfoot-type creatures coming out of portals. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, I like to answer that question with, yes, I do, and leave it as that. It's because there is no answer. So if you want my opinion, I'm going to say that they may be the first people here, the first humans. I don't think I think they're animalistic, but I think they have more human in them. And I believe that they have been surviving the way they have been. They're just, you know, the woods is their life, right? I mean, we wake up in our living room or we wake up in the bedroom, or, you know, you have all the technology right at hand, and that's what we use. We've lost our connection, I believe, with nature, where they haven't. So I don't think they have magical powers, but I think they have supernatural powers. I don't want to say paranormal, but there's even when I say that and think, okay, they are flesh and blood, they are here. How is it that I can find one footprint? How is it that some people found in an empty field, just tracks, stop, nowhere for it to go? Then what does it do? Is it sprout wings and fly, which is even more creepier? But that's true. So you're thinking, is it possible that they can actually walk through dimensions? I don't know. People say they do. I have yet to see a portal. So I can't say. If I saw portals all over, I'd say, oh yeah, they're going through there. But I haven't. In fact, I haven't seen a Bigfoot disappear. So, but with that, I'm going to try to be more grounded, because people always say, does Bigfoot exist? And I think they do, but you know, the bigger question is, what is a Bigfoot? You know? So I hope that kind of answers. I know I always dance around that a lot, but
that was a tough one.
Yeah, it's a toughie, and it's all by opinion.
Yeah,
my opinion is
it is
my
a
opinion.
mystery.
And there's no wrong or right answers. There's thousands of good researchers out there. Everybody's doing their thing. They may do it differently. There's no experts in the field, and everybody's going to have their own thoughts about what it is. Mine's personal. Like I said, mine's a calling. I go out there. I can believe whatever I want it to believe. You know, it's Santa Claus, you know, not around December 25th, you know, the other times of the year. Who knows? So
here's one for you. Could Sasquatch and the Beast of Bray Road actually coexist in the southern Kettle Moraine State Forest?
I believe they do. Again, I like to make sure that it's not out there, that it's not written in stone, but I believe that the dogman, I think, could be a subspecies of Sasquatch.
Whoa.
Just like us, you know, we have, you know, just our different races, our different, you know, body shapes, you know what I mean? It's just, we're endless, right? We all have different fingerprints. And I believe that maybe that's how Sasquatch is too. You know, you got Patty from that Patterson film, which was big and bulky. You saw the one I saw looked like a gangly chimpanzee, really thin. Then you've got the dog man, who's, you know, mean Uncle Harry, you know, part of the, part of the Sasquatch family. But at this point, I would say that Bray Road and Elkhorn, and I just don't want to say Bray Road, but that whole surrounding area is weird in itself, because I have come across the lights. They might not be portals, but they're around where other Bigfoot activity is. So, I'm just trying to piece all this stuff together.
Oh, I hope you figure it out for all of us.
Yeah.
So the Missing 411 series came up.
Yes.
And someone is asking, do you believe that some of these mysterious disappearances could be contributed to Sasquatch?
I don't like to think so, because that's what I'm going out in the dark doing. And I've been doing it for over 8 years. And, I still have my head, I'm still alive to tell my story. So I don't like to think that they did. But is it possible? Absolutely. I mean, you've got, we're all on here. We're all friends. We're all happy people. There are some bad people out there too. So why couldn't there be bad Sasquatch, to get upset because it got too close to wherever they live? Who knows? But I do think that is definitely a possibility.
Well, here's a sweet question. What's your favorite trail in the Southern Kettle Moraine?
Oh, see, if I told you,
Oh,
then I'd give away where I was at.
yeah, you'd have competition.
Well, the one thing I tell people is I would love to have 7 of me for every day of the week to go out with other people every day of the week. Because, if you're out there once a week, usually I'm out there once a week, and it's never the same day. I don't like people to know my, the days I go out there. But you know what? It's not my land out there. I'm not selfish, right? It's God's land. It's not my land. But at the same time, the last thing I want to do is go out there and get a false positive of other people. And if the other people are out there, that's great. I would just like to know that if they're out there, I want to be somewhere else, because if there was a bunch of people out there, actually, that'd be kind of cool, because you can kind of squeeze them into one area, if you had enough people. I always thought that, just take thousands of people and just kind of do a ring and just, go in and do that, try to close in on it. But yeah, so I really don't give any of my areas out. And
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm sure you guys have walked on them. Let's just say that.
This is interesting. What kinds of mundane or known things have you seen in your searches that were still really remarkable or unusual?
The lights. I don't know what these things are. They're real. In my next film, I'm actually gonna, include the lights I've caught off my body cam that just come through the top of the trees and then just light up so you can see the bottom of the forest floor. And there are times you're just sitting there, they'll be flickering, they'll be moving. Some of them are like Tinkerbell lights. Some are like just bright white orbs, or you think somebody's on a bike, but the kettle's right there. It's a 200-foot kettle. Nothing's right there, and it just skates right in front of you, disappears. And as you catch yourself, it goes back. Yeah, it's crazy. And that's where the whole theory of Bigfoot extraterrestrial, because another part in Finding J2 will be catching a thermal image peeking around a tree. And all of a sudden it disappearing, and seeing a bright, just an orb light just go right through the woods, and then hearing a loud break afterwards, just like a crash through the woods. So this might be the time that I actually caught thermal, not knowing what it was, right? Seeing the orb and then hearing the crash. And again, it's just me getting a little bit closer. But what am I really doing? Looking for a Harry and the Hendersons, a friendly forest giant? No, I want to know what the truth is. That's my calling. My calling is to know, to find out. And I guess once I find all that out, we sit down and have a cup of coffee together, shoot the breeze, then maybe I'll look for unicorns after this. I don't know.
Well, that's leading right into the next question. Do you think we will discover the truth about Bigfoot during your lifetime?
People have always asked that question, probably for past decades, back even when, Bob Giblin and Roger Patterson were trying to film a Bigfoot back in the late 60s. And I keep thinking, yes. And I feel, even for me, being confident that way, because I think we will, but a personal discovery. I don't think it'll be on TV. I wouldn't believe it if it was on TV anyway. I think that one person watching right now who's going to go out in the woods the next time may come across it and say it exists, and only you know it. Only you can feel it and understand the truth of what that is. So it may happen in your lifetime if you're out there doing it, just like it happened in my lifetime. I just don't think it'll be. And I don't think they're going to catch one, put one in a zoo, like Jurassic World or whatever, but I think enough people go out there and try to discover for themselves, just to keep alert to their surroundings. You may just find out that Bigfoot is real.
All right. I think we only have time for one more. Do you stay on established trails, or do you venture off the trail while you're searching?
That's also a great question. I have total respect for the woods when I go out there, because I'm a guest to their home. And I don't mean their home as a Bigfoot's home, but I mean nature, right? And it's like if you were sitting at home and you were looking out your living room window or whatever window, and you saw the street in front of you, and you saw some guy walking down the street in front of your house. You're like, all right, well, that's a public road. He takes 1 foot step onto your yard, and you're like, wait, what? Now the guy's walking through your yard up to not the front door, but a bedroom window. Okay, that there's like, whoa, right? That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna protect your house. So I will stick to the marked trails. I'm not out there trying to turkey hunt or deer hunt or try to be quiet. But I respect that. And I think that they know, when I say they, I mean Sasquatch. I think they know that that's a people road. That's where people hike. That's where they bike. That's where we always see people. That's where I want to be. I don't want to overstep my welcome into the woods. And I'm hoping that when I get to on a designated trail, and believe me, know your trails, because if you don't, you're in the dark, you'll get turned around really quick. That's the last thing you want to do. But I stick to the trails.
Awesome. I can't believe it's over. It's already over, guys. I of course, I just want to go hiking now. I bet I'm not alone.
Hey, anytime.
I want to thank you, Jay. I'm so happy to meet you. And thank you for sharing your presentation. There were some really intriguing photos and videos in there. And everyone can stream Finding Jay. And I want to remind all of you wonderful folks that there are more library programs. Remind you to check our website. And, we have an upcoming Game of Thrones discussion. That might be up your alley. And I'll mention those book discussions again, because we'd love to have some participants there. I guess we're saying goodbye. Goodbye to Jay, and goodbye to all of you wonderful folks. And we can all just discover for ourselves what's out there.
Exactly. So it was this is kind of my wall that my wife will let me have in the house.
That's it.
All right, yeah. So this here, I don't know if you can see that at all. It's my Finding Jay on Blu-ray. Now, the reason why I have this one up here is because it was signed by Ken Gerhard and Cliff Brackman from Finding Bigfoot.
Oh, cool.
And Dr. Jeff Meldrum. I actually gave them copies too at an event. They took it. And when was it? Was it January? It was right before COVID last year. I did a event with Bobo from Finding Bigfoot, and I gave him one of them too, but he gave me one of his hat and signed it.
He's gone squatching. That's so cool.
Yep, he said, yep, I found Jay. He's gone squatching. Bobo. So it's a Bobo hat.
And so people can get those Blu-rays through your website, right?
Through my website. I understand that everybody streams nowadays and nobody buys DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever. But me, I am a collection freak. I like to be able to hold it, display it. You know, you can't display it if it's just on there. But again, it's a professional made Blu-ray. Sold a lot of them, so I have a limited edition of them. So feel free to contact me on my website.
All right. Well, everybody have a great night, and thank you for participating. There were some great questions there.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Both Kelly's there, Kelly with an I, Kelly with a Y. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate you giving me the opportunity to tell all my crazy stories, because I'm just Jay with some crazy ideas from Wisconsin.
Loved it. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.